Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Game Fame Nation here, and in today's GTA video, today we're going to be diving into more mansions actually coming to Grand Theft Auto 5 Online, which could be the final DLC that we get our hands on in the new upcoming update, and that's going to be arriving sometime in December of 2025. But according to Insider Test Funds 2, we have some news that Rockstar Games might ultimately release this DLC and talk about it on the Rockstar Newswire sometime this November. So we're not very far from finally getting what we want, and the next big thing is what we want. Obviously, we want GTA 6, but the next big thing we want is definitely mansions and being able to own them and run properties on Prick's property management, and that's what it's basically going to be called. We're going to be diving into all that today in this video, not to mention that similar things have happened in Grand Theft Auto Online before, as we've seen Legendary Motorsports, as we've seen Southern San Andreas Super Autos, Warstock Cash and Carry. We've also seen other areas where we can buy apartments in buildings, and there's obviously our website where we can buy our main management building properties where we manage all the other properties, kind of like the nightclub, if that's being the Diamond Casino and Resort Penthouse, if that's going to be, like the arcade or, our agency. All of those properties are going to be just like owning mansions in Grand Theft Auto Online. And like I said, there's going to be a new website, and it looks like this mansion DLC might feature Micheal DeSanta in it once and for all. And this is what they had to go on to say. So this is what Insider Test Funds 2 had to go on to say, and he says the PricksLuxuryRealEstate.com is hosted on Rockstar Take-Two Interactive's name servers. The name servers is where we can kind of see when Rockstar Games are making changes, kind of like the Steam database page. It's where they make changes, and we may see it go live at some point in November. Perhaps with the expanded enhanced version, you've heard the rumors, but they barely did it justice. So as you guys can see, Test Funds 2 had to go on to talk about the brand new website, which, as we know, it's going to be Prick's basically luxury estate, which is basically where we're going to be owning the mansions. And I feel like this could be something that Micheal's already teased in, because if you think about it, Micheal's owned big mansions in single player, which obviously he's owned a house in single player for the longest time, as he had lived in Rockford Hills, and he wanted to give basically his kids the better life that he never had. He didn't want the kids to be like robbers and, break the law all the time. He wanted to give the kids what they had. And Amanda too. They wanted a good life. Well, in this instance, Micheal actually might come back and run the show with the mansions. I mean, who else has got to return in GTA 5 Online? We've already seen Trevor. We've already seen Franklin. We've already seen a couple other ones that were featured in the online. The only one we can think of is Micheal. And Micheal would be the perfect person to actually run the show. And correct me if I'm wrong, but that would be the only person that we're actually missing in this update. And the only thing I'm more excited for than Grand Theft Auto 6 is finally being able to rent properties and finally being able to take on a mansion and run the business, not to mention own my personal one, maybe have a pool. Obviously, it could come with maybe a basketball court, a spa. It could come with multiple clothing rooms and bedrooms and etc. It's just going to be a really fun thing that Rockstar Games is finally going to be bringing to GTA 5 Online after decades of waiting for it. And this is actually something that Test Funds 2 actually pulled up in the files, where you can kind of see where Rockstar Games is making changes. And as you guys know, you can see right here, PricksLuxuryRealEstate.com. This was actually pretty much registered on 2025, so basically July 18th of 2025. And then you also have the end date, which is 2027 of July 18th as well. And then you have another end date for 2025, which is basically August 14th. And these were actually deleted and prohibited, and they did a client transfer where they transferred this update. And they also did another client update prohibited. And you can see all the servers that Rockstar Games and Take-Two Interactive actually use. This was actually accessed by Insider Test Funds 2, and they have been definitely making changes for the next upcoming DLC that is going to be coming in December, which we know it's going to be the Prick's Luxury Estate, probably something to feature mansions, and not to mention multiple of them. It's not just one, it's not just two, it is multiple mansions all over. And we're actually going to be taking a look at some of those locations right now of where they're all going to be. So here's one of the leaked screenshots that we've actually found, and this is kind of in the Vinewood Hills area, kind of like where all these construction, and once again, Rockstar Games are, going to do something like that to show us that something like this is actually going to be implemented. They're actually going to be bringing construction work right where this sign is going to be placed. And you can see that it's Pricks Luxuries Real Estate coming soon. And it has like fancy signs, like a nice little pillar with a plant on it. It also has this black and gold, and the gold saying coming soon in white interior. It looks really, really cool, and I cannot wait for this update, that's for sure. So now that we get a good idea of what Pricks Real Estate is actually going to be, now let's actually talk about what we could ultimately be doing. So in this update, like I said, I think Micheal DeSanta is coming personally, and I'm not the only one, as TezFun2 also says that and states that in one of his forums, which we'll be diving into in just a second, that confirmed that Micheal is going to be running the show here. We are just going to be managing the business. And I feel like it's going to be like another office business where we're going to basically be selling these mansions, or eventually maybe someone will decide not to pay their rent or something like that for these mansions. And then we'll have to like do some money lending and collect the money, or we'll have to go after them. That could be something that it could see Rockstar Games ultimately doing in this update. Maybe you guys can let me know in those comments down below if you think the similar things are going to happen as well. Otherwise, I feel like we're just going to be working with Micheal doing other mansion where we actually have to go there and actually fix stuff up. That would be cool. It'd be so cool to do that. And not to mention that we would personally be able to own our own as well. And these mansions are going to look really, really cool. As you guys can see by the thumbnail on the user, I'll leave a link in the description to that. As you guys can see, that's personally what it's ultimately going to look like. And I know I say ultimately a lot, but you got to understand this update is big. This could be the biggest update. That's probably why Rockstar Games wanted to wait. And as we heard from Insider TezFun2, who had to respond to Grant281, said, "Are the props already there, or is it unused so far? I tried to check some of the locations and there was nothing special." And he said, "Not abled yet." Which means currently Rockstar Games are not doing the construction, and they're under investigation on getting this out here. So basically what Rockstar Games has to do is just able it into their game. So wherever they're deciding to place this Pricks luxury estate place where all the mansions are going to be, we're going to be probably just like we've seen in other, like the Diamond Casino and Resort had construction, showing us that they're definitely working over there. Like some of the other businesses had that as well. Well, Rockstar Games are going to able that, and all they do is have to push an off and on button, as they already probably took out one of the buildings or one of the houses or development properties that were already there. And then they'll pretty much just able it in their personal way. And then eventually in online, we will see a bunch of construction work basically building up the sign. So as of now, it is not currently abled. You will not see it until we get an update from Rockstar when this update's going to go live. But most likely, you'll start seeing construction work happen sometime in November. And the final thing TezFun2 had to go on to say is it just me, or hoping that Micheal will return to the mansions update, ? And TezFun2 goes on, he doesn't fit the theme of the mansions. He'll fit more in a DLC was about movies. It was like if we had Franklin make an appearance with the Chop Shop update, because he used to tow trucking, basically tow vehicles and trucking for Tanya Wilkins. And then that's basically what is he going to say? Help me pull this last favor?